blockade is really effective, but what you thought of the blockade strategy in New South Wales, because it was completed in Balcombe and it kicked out 3 major gas companies in January. So
right.
And the other thing was I wanted us to give a little bit of feedback about the Environment Agency meeting in Balcombe recently, because I thought people might be interested.
Sure. I love Lockagate. I love those people. They're my friends. Dane Pratsky and Drew Hutton, who you see in the film, are amazing folks. And, you know, I think on the DVD there's going to be an extended bonus section about Australia. It's had so much material there. And I think it's coming from the fact that this is such a bad deal for people, such a bad situation, that it is inevitably going to lead to that type of standoff. And I think that those are tactics that we're seeing being employed in a lot of places, and they're working. On the other hand, just 5 days ago in New Brunswick, Canada, there was a standoff and a blockade that was going on there for several months. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police last week came in with 700 officers in a town of 800 people and fired snipers, tear gas, high pressure hoses. They fired rubber bullets at the elders of this tribe, the women of this tribe, and arrested the chief. Someone had a rubber bullet injury to the eye. And there was a melee that ensued where police cars were lit on fire, and it's been all over there's an article in The Guardian, which I just sent down on Twitter, that has a really good blow-by-blow of what happened there. I have to say, and I'm going in 3 days to Saskatoon to address the First Nations conference. I was adopted by the Blood Tribe in Canada. I feel connected.
Cool. Yeah.
I think it was clearly institutional racism. I don't believe it had been a bunch of white grandmas out in the middle of the road that they would have fired at them. I think it's fairly clear whether that was conscious or unconscious or what. So there has been violent reactions from the police in those types of situations. And I would say that's why it's so incredibly important for us as a movement to be trained in nonviolence and to be trained in not retaliating in those situations as difficult as it is. And I'm going to say this next week, you cannot start burning cop cars, because then the news leads with burning cop cars. Well, it's very well that it could be an infiltrator, and I don't understand how 6 cop cars get lit on fire when there's 700 cops. I don't understand that. However, I have no information about that. What I do know, however, is even if it was a situation with something like that, we have to be very, very clear in our message going forward and afterwards that says, oh, and we will not retaliate. And if there is retaliation, it doesn't come from us. And maybe there's a way to say ahead of time, when you're blockading, if you're doing that, and you're standoff, here's a signature, here's my signature, it says I will not participate in violent reactions. Because there's got to be a way to ensure ourselves from the fact that here was this RCMP thing that happened with people getting fired upon. And somehow now the sympathy has moved in the media and they're running burning cars on the news night and day and night and day and night and day. And people are going, oh, it's an environmentalist, they're burning things again. And we're in deep trouble. And it takes an enormous amount of discipline, and it's a very hard thing to say. We have to insure ourselves against that kind of thing going forward, whether it is from within our own sense of range or something that would need to be then investigated and figured out. We never really know the answer to that. But I do know that the answer within this movement has to be nonviolence going forward. What's the girl who was in Afghanistan who was Malala? She said, I shouldn't have thrown my shoes at the Taliban coming in to kill me because that was a violent reaction. You know, amazing, right? But I really feel that that's